Before we get started, let's go over a quick standard disclosure. While I am trained in functional medicine and wellness, I am not a doctor or licensed medical professional. Everything discussed is for informational purposes only and is not intended to replace the relationship you have with your doctor. Nor does listening to this show create a client practitioner relationship between you and Root Cause to Wellness. Before making any changes, it is always best to consult with a licensed medical professional familiar with your health history. And please never modify any medications or add any supplements without first talking to your doctor or pharmacist. Welcome to Root Cause to Wellness. My name is Sherry, and I'll be your functional wellness guide on this journey to help you understand how your everyday choices are impacting our health. The number one word I have for our body is resiliency. We have a lot of different pathways that our bodies can take to help us cope with the choices that we're making. This means that negative daily choices don't automatically give us a disease process like the next day, nor do healthy everyday choices just magically have us wake up looking and feeling amazing. Because of that resiliency, we have to put some time into the process. The best way to understand, though, the best choices for your body, because they are different for each person, although there are some commonalities, which we'll be talking about, is to start to understand that your body's responding and talking to you every single day. The language of your body is that of symptoms. Symptoms are simply the way your body says, "Hey, I like that thing you've been doing," or "Hey, I'm not really doing very well with this. Could you stop?" And I think of the way our symptoms talk to us as the way we want to be woken up in the morning. Maybe slow and quiet and gentle with a whisper, having a little bit less energy than we would like. Maybe having a little bit of belly upset, but it goes away. Our periods maybe aren't as great, or the perimenopause years just aren't as smooth, but it's a gentle, quiet message. However, if you're very gently trying to talk to someone to wake them up and they don't wake up, you'll start talking louder and louder. Eventually, maybe you'll pull out an air horn to make them wake up. And that's what our body does as well. We go from that little background nagging, "Oh, my shoulders are tight," or "I have just a little bit of a headache that I can power through," to being laid down completely on our backs because we have ignored the message. Our body has pulled out its bullhorn and it is screaming at us. The role of functional medicine is to help you understand what that message is before it becomes a bullhorn. And if it is a bullhorn, how to turn down the volume a little bit. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, because it is our first episode, however, I want to give a brief introduction to myself so that you can understand where I'm coming from, what my background is, why I'm a good guide for you on this journey, and what it looks like to work with me both in a group, privately, or just enjoying the show. So, I have worked in the conventional medicine field for over 20 years. I attended Duke University School of Medicine and I graduated in 2002 with a Master's of Health Science and with a focus as an anatomic pathologist assistant. If you follow an analogy of, we like to say, broken boats and bodies, where we're all going down this big river of life, and some people seem to be very well equipped. They not only know how to handle all the rapids, but their boat is robust and they get to a mid part of their journey or towards the end of their journey and they're still doing well. Whereas other people are going into the river and they don't know how to swim and their boat's already leaking and they have no idea that there's rapids up ahead or whatever the pathway is. For these individuals, they end up with symptoms, broken boats and broken bodies. They're not doing well. As an anatomic pathologist assistant, I was at the end of the journey after the surgery, pulling the body out of the water, saying, "Oh my gosh, well, I see evidence of not having enough fiber in your diet and not being relaxed enough so that you ended up being constipated. You ended up with diverticulum. You ended up with a gallbladder that was sick or a cancer that was here. And this is the end of this particular journey for you." Whereas earlier on, if we had intervened sooner, then it would be a different outcome. You could have missed that rock. Your boat would have been okay. Your body would have been okay. And I realized that being an anatomic pathologist assistant wasn't for me because standing aside, looking at the train wreck of all these poor patients and not being able to intervene and not being able to help their bodies get better by recovering from the surgery, recovering from the process was simply not where I wanted to be. That led me to look for the top functional medicine school in the country because I'd already gone to the top conventional medicine school. And in this, I found the School of Applied Functional Medicine. My training is different in that we don't have fake patients. We have actual patients, actual people with their actual history that we sift through to understand what has happened to them and then put together an actual plan to help them get better. And when we actually have our client case studies, there has been work done with the client so we can see, okay, this particular person, this particular history, these particular interventions, and this was the result. I realize though that functional medicine has the same Achilles heel, but just with a different flavor than conventional medicine. And that is we want to intercede. Some people have the personality that has them want to play the hero and be the expert. And while we are experts in different functions of the body, I will never be the expert in you. Just as the best functional medicine practitioner in the world will never be the expert in me because it's my body. It's your body. It's your story. It's your body's response. And so making sure that I always put the power back into my clients, I added on additional training at the Academy of Functional Wellness so that I never lose sight of the fact that our bodies are best equipped to be well. They are constantly trying to adjust in the best way possible to our choices. And it is our responsibility to put in the best input in the front end so our body can give us the best output in the back end, and to not try to manipulate what our body does so much as to support it. So the difference between conventional and functional medicine is that by and large, conventional medicine is best at intervening at the end. It's an acute emergency mindset where we need to go in and bandage up people or do triage and hope that things get better from there because the system is not set up to do the second step. After you do the triage, after the body is stabilized, then functional medicine or functional wellness comes in and says, okay, awesome. The body is no longer about to go off a cliff, but we do need to find out why it was going that way in the first place, or it's going to keep going that way. It's like when my kids were younger and played with their little robotic cars that they drove, and they would keep driving it into the wall over and over and not turning it. So as they were going forward, it wouldn't crash into the wall again. If we just keep crashing into the wall over and over by band-aiding problem after problem and never taking a step beyond triaging, then we never actually fix the problem. What we have to do is help the car turn so it stops banging into the wall. And that's what functional medicine and functional wellness does. Now, I use the term functional wellness more than functional medicine because I want to take the weight of medicine off the table. You are not handing me your disease problems, your symptoms. You are saying, hey, can you look at this for me? I'm not going to give you the book and have you read it to me, but we're going to read it together and look at it together. And I feel that when we take the word medicine out, then we take away that weight and we put the responsibility back on ourselves to be doing the right things for ourselves. But even as a functional medicine practitioner, it's hard to look at your own health. And so I have my own people that I consult for myself, just as my clients consult me. So that's a little bit of my background. The reason I found functional medicine was that I got tired of being told that I was fine. I knew I wasn't fine. I was going to the doctor year after year for about a decade asking for help, saying, I'm not sleeping at night and I'm gaining weight and I can't seem to lose it. And my energy is terrible. And did I mention I'm not sleeping? And I don't know what's going on. I have cut out, fake foods. I eat whole foods. I go to the gym. I move my body. I try to sleep and I can't seem to get this done. Can you please help me? And doctor after doctor, and I went through about 5 of them trying to find a primary care doctor that I felt would listen to me, looked at my labs and said, you're fine. When I looked at my labs, even though I wasn't trained in reading labs, I would say, well, but all these things are at the bottom of the value. And I think that maybe having rock bottom levels of B vitamins and iron and what else was down there? Zinc and magnesium, all of these things is probably not okay. And they're like, no, you're in the range or you're near the bottom, but it's fine. You're fine. There's no diagnosis here. And I do ask all of my private clients to have a primary care doctor because I need to make sure that there's not a medical diagnosis that we're missing, but also that we are looking at fine as being a 4-letter F word when it comes to your health. It's something that you should never tolerate and never accept. Feeling fine is saying, okay, well, you're not about to go into the hospital, or we don't have a diagnosis for you, or we do, but things are fine. You're going to be okay. We deserve to feel fantastic. And as women, we often put ourselves so far on the back burner that fantastic seems like a pipe dream, when in reality, you don't have to just feel fine. And that is the goal of my practice, is to help you understand how you can go from feeling fine to fantastic. And also teaching at least my private clients, and a little bit here, we'll go into labs as the episodes go on, helping you understand how you can look at your labs and see, are you really fine or are you not? Are you in the 95 percentile, which is the conventional reference range, which is 95% of the population, which would be a great range if 95% of the population was healthy, but sadly, they're not? Or are you in the tighter, smaller functional reference range, which is where your body needs to be to function optimally so that you can get out of its way and it can do its job? Oftentimes, simply helping people identify why they're not in that range and making the lifestyle changes and some very sophisticated supplement recommendations to get into the range gives their body all of the resources that they need. So I want to end this episode with an analogy for you, something that I hope that you can take forward with you, as well as with a goal for you to go forward. The analogy is that of your body being an exquisite chef. The best chef in the world, whoever you think is the best chef, if you watch cooking shows or not, but just think of somebody who can literally create a feast for you that is ideal. They have multiple ways to get around it. If their burners are broken, they know how to use the broiler or the oven. So there's lots of workarounds. But at the end of the day, that chef needs quality ingredients and a clean, organized kitchen with equipment that is working well. If they do not have these things, they cannot build you this feast. If the trash cans are overflowing and the countertops are cluttered, they cannot build you this feast. That analogy goes over to if you are constipated and your detox pathways are not fully flowing, if your lymphatic system is stagnant, if things are not flowing properly through your body, then it's the same as having an overflowing trash can and a cluttered countertop. They need the best ingredients. You cannot have the exquisite dinner that you want if the ingredients you give your chef are wilted lettuce and moldy bread. Every single cell in your body needs the food, nutrients from the food that you eat, that it can actually utilize, that it can break down, that it can digest, that it can absorb, that it can move into the cells, and that the cells need to go through the recipes of your body, which is simply all biochemistry is. It's your body's recipes. Now, the recipe book is robust, and there are multiple ways to make a salad or cook a chicken, just like there's multiple ways for your cell to get energy, but it does need the basic ingredients. And then, of course, all of the equipment needs to be tip-top shape and what you need. If you want to make a smoothie and you don't have a blender, it's not going to happen. So we need all of the parts of our body to be functioning together very well. Nothing in the body happens in isolation. Everything happens talking back and forth to each other. Of course, this means that when you are sick, you may need a conventional specialist in their field to look at that part of the body. But when you are working towards wellness, you need to understand that what happens in the gut impacts what happens in your brain, impacts what happens in your joints, impacts what your immune system is able to do, and more. So that is my goal for you as you listen to this program, to understand how you can start looking at your choices and how your body is talking back to you, and to start making some targeted changes. Between now and then, my call to action for you would be to simply start paying attention. If you have an energy drop in the middle of the day, what happened a couple hours before? If you're laying awake in bed at night, what's going through your mind? What were the couple hours that you had before bed? What are your taking care of yourself type of behaviors? Do you practice mindful breathing? Do you move your body? Do you drink water, or do you drink soda or different beverages? If you drink tea, is it organic? Simply starting to realize that all of these things that you do every day is a choice. What is the first thing that your mind does in the morning? What is your first action? Do you jump on your phone, or do you take a few minutes to wake up? Do you stretch your body, or do you immediately shuffle off and kind of flop down in front of the computer like I used to do to try to get work done? So to start paying attention to the things that you do, because we're going to start talking about how these choices impact your health. My hope with the show is that you start to understand how your everyday choices are having an impact on your health. Obviously, there cannot be any sort of guided or targeted recommendations made. We'll talk about some basic ideas and some more understanding as to what various vitamins and minerals and nutrients do for your body. We'll even talk about different diets, although I have to say there's no one ideal diet that fits everybody. You have to be able to understand, by learning what your body responds, what diet is best for you. What I can't provide you, though, from this show is more targeted support. That is reserved for my private one-on-one clients and on a very smaller scale for my group clients. And so if you'd like to learn more about what it would mean to work with me, either individually or in a group, or even check out my self-guided Done For You program, which goes a little bit deeper in a more targeted fashion than this show will, I encourage you to check out rootcausetowellness.com. Under the Work With Me tab, you'll learn about my free 30-minute discovery calls, my offers to look at your everyday blood labs that your doctor runs for your annual physicals and give it a more functional view with our tighter reference ranges, or do a full comprehensive review for you. I also have endless room in my monthly membership group, which the weekly calls will just grow as my group grows, so that there's always room for people to feel listened to, heard, and part of a community as our community grows bigger. And so check out the links at the end of the show notes, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Until then, bye. Thank you for watching Root Cause to Wellness. I hope that you have been inspired to a new level of awe and awareness as to how your choices are impacting your health. If you would like to receive a free mindful breathing handout, schedule a no-cost and no-obligation discovery call, or jump right into working with me, visit rootcausetowellness.com and click on Ways to Work With Me to see all of those options, or click the QR code on the left. You can also use the Contact Me button on my website to ask for topics to be covered. I personally read all of my messages and will respond to each and every one. Those who desire to be patrons of the show can go to buymeacoffee.com/Sherry Brinkmeyer or click the QR code on the right. And please tune in to the next episode of Root Cause to Wellness to discover another stop on your wellness journey. I'll see you then. Bye.